Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Just for a change, today we're not featuring some tier 10 Soviet medium with a turret like a tier 15 Soviet medium zipping around the battlefield, obliterating everything, which is a fun kind of video to watch, but, well, today we're at tier 7, in a tier 8 battle, and we are in a machine that definitely doesn't have a tier 15 turret. Although it does have a turret, which is unusual for tank destroyers, because this is the T-25-2 in the American turreted tank destroyer line. It's been driven for us today in this standard battle on the highway map by secretly Solanine. And I love that name, by the way, and I'll explain why. Solanine, or Solanine, I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it, is a glycoalkaloid poison found within certain plants within the nightshade family, including potatoes and tomatoes. So what he's basically saying is, he's secretly a toxic potato. Or a toxic tomato. And it fits either way, because bad players tend to get called potatoes in World of Warships and tomatoes in World of Tanks, to go with the red rating that XVN assigns towards them. So that's why I love his name. It is a fantastic name. What I don't love is this position that he's occupied here on the highway map. Not that there's anything wrong with the position. The bushes around the southern cap are perfect for thinly armoured tank destroyers like the T-25-2. The problem I had with this specific location is that nothing is in view range. So there are enemy tanks that are spotted, but he can't see them. I'll tell you what else I don't like, the driver of the Scorpion. Take a look at the minimap. The Scorpion G, of course, also a tank destroyer, very thinly armoured tank destroyer, but at tier 8 and with a vastly better gun than that sported on the T-25-2. But look at his position. If you squint, you can just make him out in the top northwest corner of the map, miles ahead of everybody else. Now, I don't know exactly what it is that that guy expects to do up there, other than die, but what's more amusing is that he's actually going to... There he is, he's dead. Now, watch him blame that on the two Barasks in the team. And it's not that the Barasks went up there with him and then ran away and left him alone to die. They never went in that direction in the first place. They're fighting it out in the town down here. So somehow that's what actually passes for logic on whichever planet the driver of that Scorpion G comes from. Now, it's early days yet, but the team are 2 kills. Well, 1 kill ahead. 2 kills to 1. Although the retreating tanks on this side of the map, with a possible exception of the Su-122-44, are all very, very thinly armoured machines, and they do not want to be caught in the open. So they're falling back under fire. This side of the map does have terrain that definitely favours the defenders, however, as the enemy team pull a kill back and even the scores. The trick, however, as secretly Solanine is demonstrating, is that you don't just want to sit in the first bush on the ridge and shoot at the first enemy you see, because that just gets you shot back at, which is exactly what just happened to the Super Hellcat. And understanding how concealment actually works in World of Tanks is often what separates the tank destroyers that fire 2 shots and then die, and the tank destroyers that manage to survive until the end of the match. He's inching forward up to that bush to respot that Leo, but he doesn't actually get close enough to the bush to be able to see through it. I think it was the Su-122-44 who spotted him. But the Leo was spotted. Secretly Solanine took the shot and did not get spotted in return, because he was more than 15 metres from the bush that was providing the concealment, shielding him from the Leo. The Su-122-44, who almost certainly was the one that spotted the Leo because he died immediately afterwards, clearly wasn't using concealment properly. Secretly Solanine, retreating, he's now got multiple lines of concealment between himself and any enemy tanks that are going to come over that ridge. Unfortunately, he also only has a 90mm gun, just like the Hellcat and Jackson at tier 6, except the T-25-2 is tier 7. And unlike the T-25AT, the non-turreted tier 7 American tank destroyer, this machine cannot fit the 105mm gun. Secretly Solanine backs up again. They're being backed right up into the corner here, where they took out the P-44 Pantera, and he's got multiple lines of concealment between himself and the IS-2M, so he's able to take that shot without any fear of being spotted, despite how close the IS-2M was. He does, however, immediately get spotted the second he leaves the bushes because there's a sneaky little bugger in an E25. Ah well, never mind. Despite that, that was a textbook example of exploiting multiple layers of concealment to be able to get effective fire off at multiple enemy tanks without ever once being spotted. Unfortunately, they're not quite done yet. Meanwhile, we've got the crazy situation where the team in the town are winning and have the enemy tanks surrounded, and so one of the Barasks, sensing that this flank was about to crumble, came back just in time for secretly Solanine and his boys to blunt the initial enemy attack, leaving what I'm pretty sure the Barask thought was just the E25 because he went for him. Unfortunately, the E25, as we can see, brought some friends. So the Barask is dead, and then unbelievably, the other friendly tanks in the town, if you look at the minimap, they did outnumber and surround the enemy tanks over there, but they've managed to somehow lose to them. Because that's what happens in World of Tanks. Take nothing for granted. So despite looking like they were about to get overrun, secretly Solanine, the STA-1 and the Panther M10 have actually managed to hold their ground. However, once again, take a look at the minimap. Look at the S-51. The town has just fallen to enemy tanks. He's stuck in the river. He can't retreat back up the hill or he'll get spotted. The only possible use he can be to the team there is to try to spot enemy tanks as they come out of the town, and well, he's not even doing that. He's just cowering in the riverbed, and it did him no good. He's dead. 3 against 5. I've seen worse odds. The only problem is that of the 3 surviving tanks, none of them have anything bigger than a 19mm gun. Well, certainly not the Panther M10, not the STA-1, and definitely not secretly Solanine. Somebody's going to have to nose up to those bushes and spot. Somebody should probably also be covering the left flank. They ain't going to spot themselves, boys. The trick, of course, is that whoever spots just noses up to the bush, peeks through it, and doesn't shoot, not until he's moved at least 15 metres back, but the other 2 are completely free to shoot. And there is enough concealment up here that they can have multiple lines of bushes and should not get spotted unless there's an enemy tank, and you can see secretly Solanine looking in that direction, unless there's an enemy tank waiting to spot them from up there. The problem for the enemy tanks who won the town is that there's an awful lot of open ground for them to cross, and this is a fantastic firing line for concealed tanks and tank destroyers to punish them as they come. Oh, and look how close the KV-3 managed to get while the 3 defenders were trying to decide who should be the one to spot. They've taken him out, but the CS-52 managed to get up onto the flank and has killed the Panther M10. Throughout all of this, secretly Solanine continues to avoid being spotted. He leaves the STA-1 to deal with the CS-52, and there is a Lerva there on 3 health, who he misses. Although, to be completely fair, all he really had to shoot out there was the Lerva's turret. And you're extremely unlikely to be able to penetrate the front of a Lerva's turret with a 19mm gun. So this has always been the big downside for me in the T25-2. Oh, S1, S1, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. Yes, shoot it again. It's going to be spotting for the Lerva. The Lerva ain't going to attempt to advance with only 3 health remaining. He's going to be sitting in that riverbed. I'm sorry, Akazuki, the Hellcats are already dead. He's going to be sitting in that riverbed and just waiting to shoot targets at the S1 spots. Or at least that's what he's going to be doing if he's smart. We can only hope that he is not smart. I'll tell you what else we can't count on. That STA-1 doing any more spotting. Poor bugger sitting there on 54 health. I think he's all spotted out. Secretly Solanine has done remarkably well to avoid getting spotted. Well, not entirely avoiding getting spotted. He did get shot at by the E25 earlier, but other than that, I don't think he's been spotted this entire game. I don't think he's being excessively cautious here, though. I mean, the STA-1 has nosed right up to the edge of the bushes and is watching for the Lerva. And you can do that without being spotted. You just can't do that and shoot without being spotted. But you can't effectively watch that flank from here, because your visibility effectively stops at that line of bushes. That line of bushes is where you need to be watching that flank from. Oh, STA-1 spots the lurber, pulls back, shoots, gets him. Nicely done. Textbook. They relocate anyway, because hey, you never know. But I'm pretty sure neither of them got spotted there. Otherwise we'd be hearing artillery. Well anyway, if there are no further interruptions for the next minute, I was talking about why I didn't really like the T-25-2. Because it isn't really a very good machine. It's, in many cases, a bit of a downgrade, or not enough of an upgrade from the Tier 6 to warrant the investment, in my opinion. Because it has the same 90mm guns, the Jackson and the Hellcat. And even fully upgraded, all it gets is another 10mm of penetration. Its mobility is pretty bad, its armour is terrible. And it doesn't get the 105mm gun enjoyed by the T-25AT in the non-turreted. And the T-25AT also has better armour and better mobility. And yet, while I definitely do not think that this thing is a good tank, and I'm very, very happy to see Solar 9 moving up to the next line of bushes so you can actually watch this flank, I do remember having good games in this thing, and I don't know why. I know that if you said to me, let's play some Tier 7 tank destroyers, oh, there's the S1. Backs up into the bushes, double, triple bushed. Unfortunately, the S1 knows he was spotted, pulls back, and with the steep angle of the upper hull, upper glacis, there was no way that would have penetrated, so secretly Solar 9 does not take the shot, does not give his position away. The STA-1, check out this teamwork, baits the S1 into turning around, shot up the ass, surprise butt sex, and then finishes him off. And there it is. Still an M12 in play though, gotta keep moving. And while the T-25-2's mobility is not good, it's decent when it's going down a hill. Into the river, closely followed by the STA-1, and watch this, wait for the artillery shot. There, did you see that? How good was that? Because they weren't spotted at that point, but the M12 put two and two together, figured that they'd be taking the quickest route to him, and plonked a shot right down in the river, and very, very nearly killed one of them. That was an exceptionally good shot from the M12. It just wasn't quite good enough. But as I was saying, if you said to me, let's play some Tier 7 tank destroyers, I think the T-25-2 would probably be the last one I'd pick, because it really is not a very good tank destroyer. And yet at the same time, I can recall having really good games in this thing. And the T-25AT, the other American Tier 7 tank destroyer, which on paper is better than this thing in every respect. I have nothing but bad memories of that machine. And yet if you put a gun to my head and made me choose between the two, I'd still probably pick the T-25AT. And I don't really understand why. Now I don't know if secretly Solar 9 actually enjoys playing this thing, but he's certainly doing well in it, and that has been my experience of the T-25-2 as well. Oh, there's the M12. Premium high explosive. Well, of course it is. Immobilised, M12 closing in for the ram kill, except it won't win him the game because the STA-1's still alive, and, well, close, but not close enough. Secretly Solar 9, earning not only an Ace Tanker badge, but also his first mark of excellence, in a machine that I think can most generously be described as deeply mediocre. A victory that was only made possible, of course, by some excellent teamwork between himself and Zenki there, almost certainly a Czech player, in the STA-1. Congratulations to them both, and I hope you enjoyed today's video, because that's it for today. As always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.